Hi everyone, I'm Gavin Patton, a product manager here at Puppet by Perforce, and welcome to our hands-on demo of installing Puppet Enterprise using PADM, the Puppet Enterprise Administration module. So PADM delivers a suite of bolt plans that automate every step of your PE lifecycle. This includes installing, upgrading, converting, and more, drastically reducing manual effort and risk. It's the recommended method for installing Puppet Enterprise. It supports standard, large, and extra large architectures, and crucially, it's the only supported way to deploy an extra large PE environment. It automates the full install process using bolt plans, making it faster, more reliable, and repeatable. And in summary, PADM is just perfect for teams who want to save time, reduce manual errors, and scale Puppet with confidence. So now I'll hand over to Tony, who's going to walk you through a hands-on demo.
Hi, how you doing? My name's Tony Green. I'm going to be talking to you today about a PEADM, Puppet Enterprise ADM. Puppet Enterprise ADM is a set of bolt plans and tasks that enable you to both install and manage your Puppet environment, whether you're working on a small monolithic install or whether you have a huge split extra large installation with compilers and separate database servers. PEADM can take it all. Not only can it handle the installation, but it can do maintenance tasks, including upgrades. So it makes life a lot easier when you're trying to plan out those activities. Really takes a lot of the guesswork out and the manual processes. So it's a tech session, so I'm going to dive straight into the code. Obviously, being a Bolt module, one of the key things you're going to need initially is to have Bolt installed and operational on a jump server or on the server you want to install on. If you don't have Bolt installed, we've got another video that can help you with that. When you initially set up your Bolt project for this, I'm going to use the directory I'm in at the moment, and I'm going to link that in the notes for this video so that you can actually download it and use it as a template. If you look in there, the main thing we have is a Bolt project YAML file. If I look at that project, it will tell you that we're using PEADM version 3.2.9. Now, if you want to install that manually in your Bolt project, you can go to the PEADM Forge page, look at Bolt as the install option, and it will give you the command there. But we've already got it set up in our Bolt project file. If that's your first time using it, you can do a Bolt module install, and it will go off and verify you've got all of the dependencies and write those into your Puppet file. Very simple Bolt level stuff. There's nothing there that's unique to PEADM. Next thing we need to do is populate the inventory file. Now, again, this is an introduction, so we're only going to be doing a monolithic server, just a single Puppet server. So if I have a look at our inventory file, I can see I've got a group named Puppet Enterprise nodes. I've configured the transport to be SSH using username and password of Puppet with a sudo command specified, and I've specified the node here. So just to show you, we're not cheating. This is the server that we're going to be looking at. We can see this is a very bare bones Ubuntu server, and we have no Puppet labs or anything else. So once you have those things in place, the final piece of the puzzle is the parameters. The parameters JSON file lists the configuration options that you can use. If you've used PE before, this would be the equivalent of supplying like a PE.conf configuration as part of your runtime. But the useful thing here, it tells you you can tell it what version you want to install, and obviously then set the console password, the primary host, and any DNS alt names that you want to set. If any of these are parameters that you're curious about, I'll show you in a minute when we're running this how to find out more about them. So now we should be ready to go. So if I do a Bolt plan show and do a filter on PEADM, I only want to see plans that are to do with PEADM. You can see all of the different ones that it gives us. So we have add compilers, add database, add replica, backup your CA. But the one we're interested in here is install. So if I then do a PEADM show on PEADM install, it allows an awful lot of parameters. Now those parameters are all, for the most part, optional. And again, we're not going to worry about a lot of them. You'll see here that console password and things like that are actually being supplied by the JSON file. So in order to actually kick this off, what I will do is run bolt plan, run PEADM install, and then for the parameters, I'm going to specify at params.json, which means reading from the parameter file for all of those parameters. I'm going to kick that off. Now, this does take a little bit of time, but I'll talk through some of the things it's doing while it's working. You can see there that it's picked up that it needs to set a primary host name and the version. We're not setting any replicas, compilers, or separate database hosts. We can see down there, it's already downloaded the Puppet installer. It's copied that installer up to the server, and it's now started setting things like certificate extension requests, and it's actually started doing the install, which is great. This is going to take a little bit of time. So while it's doing that, I'm going to show you some of the things that PEADM can do. Now, obviously, the place to start is on the Forge, looking at the information here. As new versions of PE come out, PEADM is updated, so we always advise to keep your modules up to date and obviously check the changelog. So you'll see here, most recent version that came out a couple of weeks ago has the support for the latest short-term and long-term release of Puppet. If we look at the reference, it tells us all of the different functions and classes that are available, the tasks that we're able to use. So a lot of detail within here. But if you want the real instructions on how to use stuff, if you look at the README, it gives you an overview here, links to install Bolt and how to get started. The section I'd advise you take a look at is the install here. So if we follow that over to the GitHub page, it will give you slightly more detailed version of the install documentation, and it will show you here the different types. So we can install standard with DR, large with compilers, large with DR, extra large, and so on. Each of those have different setup criteria. It shows how to use the command, and then details of different types of inventory that you may want to use. So showing not only the Puppet server itself, but also compilers, legacy compilers, and replicas and things. So all of this can be managed from PEADM. Historically, if you've used this before, the install would be a little bit more complicated. You'd need to do a manual install on each thing and start copying stuff around. This has simplified things substantially. The documentation also has a bunch of example JSON files, which are really useful. So under examples provision, you can look at minimal, which is very similar to what we've done. So you just specify a version, a password, and a host, all the way up to extra large with HA, which then has the same parameters we specified, but also replicas, primary and secondary Postgres servers, compilers, and more detailed DNS alt names. So it covers an awful lot of stuff. While it's running, I'm going to show you a couple of other options that you can do with PEADM. Again, if I just do a bolt plan show filter PEADM, being able to do an upgrade or run a status is really useful. So if I was to look, for example, at the upgrade, bolt plan show PEADM status, sorry, look at status first, then we'll look at upgrade. Status will give us the current health of the environment. Obviously you can tune that to output in JSON or as a table. And if we look at the upgrade, we'll see there in a very similar way to the install. It will take a lot of options, but those can also be usually by best practice supplied by the params file. And you can also specify the version you want to move to. So in the version field, again, that allows you to control what version you're upgrading to. So it's a lot of power, and new things being added all the time. We've added stuff such as, just pull up the list. We now have a migrate, so enabling you to actually migrate a PE instance from one server to another one. And PEADM convert. So if you've already installed PE yourself using a manual method or one of the other installation methods, you can run a PEADM convert, which will then allow you to sort of manage all of this stuff using PEADM going forward. Take a look at see how this is going. So we can see now that the installation's actually already finished. PuppetDB has been started. We've generated ourselves an RBAC token, code manager's finished, and we're actually running Puppet on the server. So if I come over now and look at that directory again, we now have Puppet Labs there and an awful lot of Postgres and other services running. Might be a little bit soon, but I'm going to try. There we go. So we've got a self-signed certificate at the moment. So I'm going to visit the website anyway. And we have Puppet instance. I'm using a password that I set up in the params file. I can now log in, and we have a fully functional Puppet installation. Now, obviously, this installation is very basic. We haven't set up an external control repo. We haven't set up YAML or anything similar. PEADM can do all of those things, and we're going to cover some of them in future series. But just to get you up and running, this takes probably five minutes or so. And here we go, we're finishing. So really appreciate your time. Hopefully you find PEADM useful, and keep an eye out for future videos. Thanks a lot.